Hello, dear friends. I should be nervous about the events, and yet I feel great peace. Something doesn't fit. It is said something big is about to happen, but I don't believe it until I see it. Opinion piece. Meaningless world. Chess game. Chaotic format. Spiral of madness. Theater of upset. Diverting attention. Great world theater. Theatrical operations. De-escalation measures. Good news from Cobra. Sahel axis of resistance. Evangelicals celebrate apocalypse. Let's start. We are experiencing the greatest chess move of all time, and the enormity of what is coming will shock the great theater of the world. A theater is a faint and exaggerated action, or the set of all the dramatic productions of an era. Synonyms of theater are story, farce, exaggeration, pretense, simulation, affectation, or parody. According to Mike Adams, Iran's drone attack was a theater of war because we have not yet seen a real war. In his opinion, the Middle East could be heading towards a major war while the accelerators of the end times applaud. We have entered a spiral of madness as evangelicals celebrate the acceleration of the end times because they think they can use a strange riddle to defeat their enemies. This is starting to get crazy and dangerous. The theater of the upset is a movement that originated in Europe in the 1940s and is characterized by presenting a world without meaning, where rationality and logic lose their meaning. It seeks to visualize the disconnection between the human being and his environment, and is distinguished by the use of exaggerated comedy through characters who lack rationality and face meaningless situations. The use of theater operations to deceive the opponent in a theater of operations involves the use of deception and psychological operations to create a false image of the situation and influence the perception and behavior of the adversary. This can be achieved through various means, such as use of decoys, dummy equipment, fake radio traffic, propaganda, leaflets, and loudspeakers. The objective is to create the impression that there is a larger or more powerful force than there is, to divert attention from the real objectives of the operation and influence the enemy's decision-making process. Theater. According to Benjamin Fulford, the corporate theater of the upset that passes itself off as news has reached a new low. However, this theater hides a very real war now being fought between two alternative timelines. He adds that they have to act out a war scenario to sound the sirens and activate the emergency transmission system. In his opinion, this conflict is heading towards a battle in May, when attempt will be made to impose a government with censorship and internment. This is probably why people reported contrail spring before April 8th. The weak say they are not going to give up control of the financial system. Instead, they propose using cryptocurrencies to continue their unelected government. Under his plan, everyone would receive a basic income that would be tied to their social credit score. If you are obedient, you would be allowed to eat insect protein, travel outside your area, and obtain other benefits. The disobedient would have their income and travel restricted. The alternative proposal put forward by the coalition is intended to finance humanitarian projects. There are some clear things that everyone agrees on. For example, we must put an end to disease, poverty, and the destruction of nature. In short, the negative timeline demands that the planet become a giant animal farm controlled by the wicked. The positive line requires that people decide what future they want and that their public servants make it a reality. Unrest is expected between now and May as the two sides clash. Things could escalate quickly. This is the reason why deterrent measures are being taken in the Middle East. Nobody wants this to lead to an all-out war. The Russians are also planning big moves. Chaos. Putin said, all things are in a chaotic format, and chaos is energy in motion, and that is how it is. How it is. Just be clear that any small plan is reserved for the larger events on the way, and that is the most accurate way to engage in this discussion. We are open and receiving data, and we are vigilant as the days progress. They spend weeks waiting for the moment when they can be prepared for the big event. The big event that everyone has waiting for is stalled for now. There will be not a full celebration as promised. What can you expect? There are many twists and turns in this imploding avenue of change, but I'm going to give you some information. Buy silver where you can and wait for it to rise. We too can see the intention to disrupt the currency market. No one can say when or how, but events are on the way for that to happen. Relief. The forces of light are eliminating the dark web from Atlantis according to Cobra. After eliminating African iniquitous networks, there is a palpable relief in Africa. The African Sahel is rebelling and expelling foreign troops and bases, devising alternative currencies and challenging the old multinationals. After all, multipolarity cannot flourish without resistance paving its way. He adds that in December 2023, the Atlantean Duck Network managed to open portals between the solar system and other universes, similar to what happened in 1996, but to a much lesser extent. They did this by detonating etheric bombs in the Kuiper belt. These portals allowed the entry of entities from other universes, which were then cleansed as soon as they entered the solar system. The forces of light closed these portals on April 3rd, and from then on, the entry of dark entities from anywhere is no longer possible. The only dark portals still active between our solar system and other universes allow a certain degree of entry of subquantum anomalies into the solar system. Those portals will also close soon. This entire operation was a strategic mistake by the dark forces, since after the forces of light managed to close the dark portals, they can open portals of light in those same places, and this improves communication between the solar system and the forces of the light in other universes. Many light reinforcements are already arriving from other universes, and their motherships are being placed in the heliopause. Many of those light beings brought new advanced technologies related to the larger and new faster hyperdimensional wormholes that allow for faster and more convenient travel between universes. On April 3rd, enough anomalies were cleared that the true light was finally anchored in the physical plane in Sedona, Arizona, for about 20 minutes, after many decades. At the exact same moment, lightning struck the Statue of Liberty as a very clear sign of the victory of the light. The energy field in New York was quite tense. Reset news. According to Judy Bington, the current financial system has been falling to the brink of the abyss for a long time, while the world is on the brink of a false war scenario. In her opinion, a new quantum financial system has already been established on more than 500 Starlink satellites that will be activated with the financial reset. The stock market is failing and would not be available in the new system. JFK Jr. wrote on Sunday, April 14th, that they are trying to instigate a conflict for profit and use it as a cover for the implosion of the fiat system. The coalition says this was a false flag to bring about the financial reset. Real Renew claims that Klaus Schwab has been arrested in Switzerland, according to Michael Baxter. War rumors. Iran warns the US about its counterattack on Israel, but without specifying a timetable or objectives. Biden told Netanyahu that he will not participate in offensive operations against Iran. They claim that Israel delays the invasion of Rafah after the Iranian attack. Israel says it is preparing an imminent attack on Iran as airlines, in plural, cancel flights to the region. The UN Secretary General says the world cannot afford another war. Borrell believes that Iran's attack on Israel was deterrent and that he didn't want to escalate. Economy. The price of metals reaches an all-time high. Gold has returned and has a message. The precious metal boom could be a prelude to a completely different world than the one we know. China holds copper as if it were preparing something very big. $130 million in cryptocurrencies liquidated after the Iranian attack. The price of oil fell after the attack. Oil loses as traders wait for Israel's response to Iran. The initial response of the market has been just the opposite of what was expected. Slight bullish predominance in equities and a gentle correction in both oil and gold. The rich increase investment in venture capital to avoid the state tax. Stocks and treasuries fall after retail sales beat forecasts. Nervous investors take advantage of options in all markets. Volatility is increasing in the markets as investors seek protection amid concerns that the conflict in the Middle East could widen as the sell-off deepens in the bond market. Americas. AMLO asks Israel not to respond to Iran's attack because it does not even benefit the war-mongering governments. Former Bolivian foreign minister anticipates a global conflict if the escalation in the Middle East is not stopped. The government of Argentina announces a cut of $140 million in the Ministry of Health. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.